I have decided to conduct a special military operation.
It started before dawn. Ukraine woke to explosions around the capital, Kiev.
We now have war in Europe on a scale we thought belonged to history.
When the Biden administration offered an evacuation, he said, "I need ammunition, not a ride."
We are all here. Our military is here. Citizens are here. We are all here.
The worst is yet to come. Those ominous words today.
The first few weeks, Russia managed to seize about a quarter of Ukraine's territory.
Сломались. Можно оттащить на Россию обратно.
The aerial bombings and shellings of civilian areas of cities by the Russian forces probably rises to the level of a war crime.
The final battle for Mariupol looks imminent.
Nadezhda comes to see us off. She's worried for her sons and for our mothers.
The Prime Minister was invited to visit Ukraine by President Vladimir Zelensky.
A massive explosion tearing one section of the bridge apart early Saturday morning, one day after Vladimir Putin's 70th birthday.
We stand, we fight, and we will win because we are united. Ukraine, America, and the entire free world.
This morning, President Biden arriving in Ukraine for the first time since the invasion began.
It has been for 1 year. Even now, we can't believe that the war started.
So it's a slaughter fest for the Russians. They're getting hammered in the vicinity of Bakhmut, and the Ukrainians have fought very, very well.
Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the mercenary group, is mounting what is being called as an armed mutiny against the Russian military leadership.
The head of the paramilitary organization, the Wagner Group, was killed in a plane crash last week. Officials in Ukraine say Russia launched a series of drone attacks overnight, targeting several locations, including Kyiv and the port of Odessa.
The Russian president is not playing for stalemate. They want to conquer Ukraine.
An existential war against Russia now heading into its third year. The uncertainty of future Western support.
If anyone thinks this is only about us, this is only about Ukraine, they are fundamentally mistaken.
Vasyl Myroshnychenko is Ukraine's ambassador to Australia and is with us now. Ambassador, we're 2 years into this particular phase of the war. Can you just give us an insight into what life is like for Ukrainians at the moment?
Well, it depends on where you are. I mean, if you're closer to the front lines, cities have been destroyed, totally razed. Russians are continuously attacking our civilian infrastructure, attacking power generation and electricity distribution. So there are many places where you don't have heating or you don't have electricity, and it happens on a regular basis. If you come to Kyiv, for instance, Kyiv tries to operate as a normal city, as well as Dnipro and Kharkiv, as much as it is possible, but attacks happen every other day, and we hear explosions, we hear air defense systems working, Shaheds are coming, which are drones, but also Russian ballistic missiles are coming, and other cruise missiles are coming. And it's now become so common that it's no longer making the news.
Ambassador, Putin doesn't look like he's going to be backing down anytime soon. Just how much longer can Ukraine hold out?
Well, from the very beginning, it was all about two things, about Ukraine's readiness to fight and the readiness of our international partners to support the fight. And for the past 2 years, we've demonstrated that we can hold the territory, we can inflict enormous damage to the aggressor, and we can even neutralize Black Sea Fleet. And if duly equipped, we can defeat Russian troops on the ground. So we don't need to have the third anniversary of the Russian invasion in Ukraine. What we need to defeat Putin, we need the support of our partners, we need the belief into Ukraine, and we need the technology and tools to have the conclusive capacity to be able to inflict this endgame. And the endgame is a total defeat of the Russian troops on the ground.
So what does victory look like for the Ukrainians then? Is it completely getting Russia out, or has that changed over the last 2 years?
Well, for Ukrainians, after all this sacrifice, the victory for us means that Russians are out of the country and we can restore our sovereignty. And but I have to tell you, there is no other people who want peace more than Ukrainians, because for the past 2 years, we haven't asked for any foreign boots on the ground. We've been doing it on our own. And we need that assistance to be coming in to be able to defend ourselves. But definitely for Ukrainians, if you even look at some of the recent surveys, over 90% of people believe we should reclaim all of the territory that Russia has occupied. Of course, we understand and realize the challenges around it. But nevertheless, I mean, at this stage, we have to demonstrate unity and strength to be able to deter Russia and to be able to convince them to withdraw.
So, Ambassador, do you feel that the world's forgotten about Ukraine?
I don't think so. The fact that it's not in the news does not mean that the people have lost interest in that. Even if you look at some of the recent polls done in Australia, you will see that majority, over 80% of Australians support the country. They support the fact that Australia should be sending more assistance to Ukraine, and it's out there. It's still, there will be many demonstrations around the country on Saturday. I encourage all Australians to come and join those rallies. In every capital city of Australia, there will be rallies in support of the country.
Ambassador, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.